Yo, what's going on, guys? Before we get into the video, this is actually a clip from our recent podcast, the first ever podcast of C2 Wrestling. So if you haven't seen it and would like to watch the whole thing, the link is down in the description. But now, let's get into the video. The biggest faction in arguably WWE history. It is the main event of SummerSlam. It is Cody Rhodes defending the WWE Undisputed Universal Heavyweight Championship against some might call the real tribal chief and the leader of the bloodline. Throw the ones up for Solo Sikoa. We'll do it Sabu style on the
That's what I was just gonna say,
screen.
Sabu
Yeah.
style. Because I'm on that again, ankle injury pod, you
Yeah.
know.
Credit to Solo. He has taken such a step up.
Yeah,
They have made Solo feel bigger, whether you're putting out memes of him or not. When you do hashtag SummerSlam, it is the Solo Sikoa emoji that pops up. It is not the Cody Rhodes emoji. It is not CM Punk. It is not Seth Rollins. It is Solo Sikoa. So
yeah.
when we talked about the WWE Women's Championship, I said it's a two-part question. I said, who wins the match and do we get a cash in? This also is a two-part question. Who wins the match and does he return? And he is who most would call the real tribal chief, the champion of champions, Roman Reigns.
It's tough. I don't know. I think they need him to return. To be honest, I think Roman has to return. I think again, even inadvertently, they've maybe booked themselves into a corner and need Roman to return now. Solo has been great. I've seen him get a little bit of flack, but it's not real flack. He's been fantastic. The bloodline's been great. There's a new iteration of the bloodline, I should say. I get it. It's not original Sami Zayn, Usos, Roman bloodline. Maybe it's not peak bloodline story, but it's still been fantastic. This is a great extension of what they've created. When it comes to the match itself, Cody versus Solo should be a good match. Both those guys can go. Should be nothing wrong with the match. Solo winning the championship is a crazy thought to me. Is it too soon for Solo? Is it? Like he's only held one North American championship. Like it's not often guys skip all those belts and go right to the top. That really establishes them as kind of like a next level wrestler. I think a lot of Sheamus when I think of guys that skip their way to the top. And Sheamus has had a star-studded career. Solo will too, I'm sure, but I don't know. Is it too early? What do you do if Solo does win the belt? Does Roman retain to face Solo? If Cody retains, does Roman return against Cody? Does he still have beef with Solo? Where do they go after this? I have no idea.
That's the beauty of it. This has been done pretty well. Granted, SmackDown has gotten a little repetitive with the finishes. They had 2 straight weeks of the same exact finish essentially. But now we have a little bit of a twist. We have the Bloodline 2.0 the night before is going for the tag team titles. There's a chance Jimmy returns on SmackDown. There's a chance they just win the tag titles. And now the faction already has titles in the group. I can see them winning the tag titles and Solo not winning the title to help elevate the other members besides Solo who are newer to the WWE audience. I just feel, again, it's one of those where it feels so obvious Cody's going to retain and Roman returns, whether it's during the match or after, that it's like, is it too obvious? Is it, is it that cut and dry? Which, look, I'm fine. That's basically what I want to happen. I'm
Yeah,
not saying that is the wrong move, but is it the move that they make? I do think there is this chance that they do have, so I don't think he's going to. And you mentioning the big jump, it'd be a massive jump. Like we can't undersell this. it would be beating the guy who is literally the face of the company. And then going into a feud with a guy who carried the company for 5 years
Yeah,
and who others would argue is the actual face of the company.
yeah,
Like that is, you want to talk about having to up your game. That is, I don't know if there's anyone that new into their career you could expect them to be put in that role and swim. I do think Solo would survive. I just don't know how well it would go. And then also on top of it, yes, the whole story of the tribal chief has been revolving around Roman lost the title and losing has consequences, whatever. But that is such a strong storyline. It is my same kind of thinking with the Judgment Day. Priest and Balor and all that friction. It's such a strong storyline that it doesn't necessarily need the title. So I think my prediction, I do think Cody retains. I think we get a returning Kevin Owens and a returning Randy Orton who help during the match, even
hmm
the odds a little bit for Cody to retain. And then maybe Bloodline 2.0 gets the upper hand after the match. And then Roman comes out. I think that is probably the most likely outcome. But we've seen crazier things happen.
we definitely have. I do also agree. Again, I think that is the most likely outcome, and I think it is the outcome we get. I think Roman does return. I think it's more to get retaliation against Solo for taking out Paul Heyman, things like that. I also think Cody, I don't want to say has to return, but
Retain.
by having Cody lose the belt, yeah, retain, sorry. By having Cody lose the belt, you miss a lot of opportunities with Cody there. And don't get me wrong, Cody can win the belt 10 more times before he's said and done wrestling. But you have like a textbook must happen Cody Orton feud at a point. Like that's so easy and it's going to be so great that again, you can do that in 2 years. It doesn't matter. You can have Cody win the belt 3 more times in between, blah, 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 blah. But right now, Orton's so over, bigger and better than ever. Cody's so over, bigger and better than ever. Seems like the time. You take that title off of Cody. What's next? Does Cody go against Solo again? Does Roman beat Solo? Do you even put that belt back on Roman ever? There's so much that can happen. It's tough to say. My final prediction, I do think Cody retains. I think Roman returns. I do think we get a whole mess of a show at the end with Orton coming out, Kevin Owens coming out, the Bloodline coming out. I think we're going to get this massive brawl. Ladies and gentlemen, maybe even Heyman's name pops up. Not name pops up, but he comes out, does his typical ladies and gentlemen, announces Roman, or the music just hits, one or the other. But one way or another, we're seeing him come back. Our tribal chief. Put up the ones for Roman Reigns.
I cannot wait. And I do
Can't wait.
think a Roman return, it's the crowd has been clamoring for it.
Mm-hmm.
When it happens, we've mentioned multiple times striking while the iron is hot. It feels like even though it's expected, it would still get such a loud reaction to happen at
Absolutely.
SummerSlam. Guaranteed big moment, guaranteed. You end the night on an absolute massive bang. I do agree with you. I think Cody still has this feud with Randy. He also still has this inevitable feud with The Rock that is
Correct.
going to come at some point. We don't know what the end game is, whether, it is Cody Rocket Mania, Roman. We don't know. But Roman and Solo are going to face at some point.
Yes.
And that match does not need the WWE Championship because that
Correct.
match is for a title in itself, and that title is the head of the table.
Correct. Now I want to touch on that match and just that potential feud because it's very intriguing to me because WrestleMania, we were there. We went. You're wearing the shirt or the Jade shirt, drinking the cup right now. It's interesting because Solo Roman was never really on my radar at that time. It was nothing that like kind of really super intrigued me. Um, and then Roman loses, goes away. Solo slowly kind of takes over the bloodline, makes it his own thing. It really hasn't been until recently that they've really made it like Solo taking over the bloodline. Screw Roman, forget about Roman. It seems like at first they were kind of going a different route where Solo was maybe just upholding the bloodline until Roman comes back. But it seems like they've pivoted again, striking while the iron is hot, and maybe they're going to try to capitalize on a Roman Solo feud. Where it's again intriguing is that seems so cut and dry. Roman wins, beats Solo, but what does that do for Solo?
I
I don't see
I don't
much of a
think
way
it's
out of
that
that
cut
for
and
Solo.
dry. I really
Yeah,
don't. I think if there's we know Roman has no issue losing to his family. He gave Jay the big moment. That has elevated Jay massively. I truly think we get Solo Roman because Solo loses, they go for the tribal chief title, whatever. And that's where the Bloodline 2.0 helps Solo because
yeah,
Roman is not coming back and immediately having Jay,
yes,
immediately
yep,
having, maybe he might have Jimmy right away. He's not going to have Jay. Maybe it's Sammy who gets added on, or maybe it's Cody, whatever it may be.
yeah,
There's still bridges that need to be mended. And it
hmm
also needs to be Roman needs their help and is
yeah,
asking for them. We've already seen the seeds planted when Heyman and Jay walk past each other, and Heyman's all distraught, and Jay looks at him, and you can see it in Jay's head. Oh my God, my family is falling apart. But I can't think about that. I gotta, handle myself. We've seen those seeds planted. I think a little bit of fantasy booking and a SummerSlam. Cody retains. Solo goes after him after, whatever it may be. Roman returns. It sets up Roman versus Solo. And that first match, Solo beats Roman with the help of Bloodline 2.0. And it goes into Roman looking for the help of his cousins again, looking for the help of his honorary Uce. And that sets up the massive multi-man match, whether it's at Survivor Series or a different pay-per-view. And then it sets up, yep, maybe a War Games. And then you have again one-on-one Roman Reigns solo, and Roman comes victorious in the end because there's nothing wrong with losing to Roman in the end, but Solo needs something to
yeah,
elevate him to make it
yep.
feel like he has a genuine chance in this. But he will not start by winning the WWE Championship. That's not the
I
something
agree.
he's going to get. It's
I
going to
agree.
be
I mean,
Cody.
I do think that's the only way to do it is Roman returning and kind of Roman soloing against this new bloodline. This whole 4 or 5 man faction potentially going against Roman. Roman can't get any help. No one's coming to his side because of his past. He's, screwed everybody once or twice. He has no friends, no family at his side. And it is kind of his fight for the bloodline again, for Jimmy, for Jay, for potential Sammy, Cody, War Games. There's so much fantasy booking involved. We've talked about it ourselves. We see it online every day. So many routes they can go. I concur. None of these routes start with Solo winning this world title at SummerSlam.